Thank you very much. Thanks very much, Madalena. Is that okay to get my presentation up there? Is that okay? Welcome, everyone. Is everyone well? Good. I'm Ben Turner. I'm Head of Sales for the Institute of Sales and Marketing Management. And first of all, thanks very much for the kind words from everyone on the guest panel, and also thanks very much for everyone turning out today. It's fantastic and very encouraging. I wouldn't mind if it's okay while we get the presentation up. Can everyone stand up, please? I think it's in the folder there. Is it there? Can you see it? Perfect. If I can ask everyone to stand up, please. Can we do this? I won't make you do anything silly, but I think everyone should stand up now, please. And I'm going to ask you one very simple question, so listen to the instructions, please. If the answer is yes to the question I ask you, you may remain standing. Okay? So if the answer is yes, remain standing, otherwise you may sit down. Who here has always, throughout their whole life, wanted a career in sales? I'm not sure how telling that is, but thanks for you guys for remaining standing. I did want a career in sales. I battled with my parents who wanted me to be an actor, a famous footballer, or even a lawyer or doctor. I wanted to be a salesman. I had the talent to do all of those things, but yeah, I wanted to be a salesman, and I'm immensely proud to be a salesman. I love it. I've actually had a lot of different jobs. I've been a business development manager. I've been a key account manager. I've been an account manager, and I've also been a consultant. But having said that, I have always been a salesperson. So I always remain that. So I forgot the clicker. It's over there. So thank you. So thank you for that exercise, because I think it demonstrates a very key point. And I think it's very important. The enthusiasm that Madalena has and everything that we've been doing tonight and your presence here today just shows there's a real appetite for sales and the professionalisation of sales. I've been in Romania for 2 days now, and I feel like an adopted Romanian. I've been treated so well, and I've just had a fantastic time. And I've had the fortune to meet Stefan and some other sales directors, and the passion for improving sales standards in the country is just unrivaled. The key thing that it is, and we had a long discussion over a coffee, and I dare say we could have another one over a beer at another time, but discussing the problems that exist within the sales community. And what continually surprises me, but doesn't surprise me, is that I'm very fortunate in that I travel a lot with work, and I go into the Middle East, and I go into North Africa, and I go into Southeast Asia, and wherever I go, the same problems are occurring. And the same problems exist within Romania as well. The good news is that we do have a solution, and hopefully the work that we've done with Salestrust and with all your presence here is we're going to make that happen. So let me just tell you a little bit about... Whoa, he's gone too far on that one. There we are. It's very sensitive. It's like me. So what is the ISMM? And rather than me just read that out, I think it's just important just to get a bit of an idea of what we're trying to do here. And I think the commitment's a really important word, because it is a commitment to us as a profession, to us as a community, to recognise us as a career. But massively it is a commitment to sales excellence. And excellence is a really important word for us. We're not talking about being an okay salesman. We're not going to be talking about average salespeople. We're talking about excellent salespeople. And we're also talking about excellent sales organisations. So why is it important? Why has the ISMM been around for over 100 years? Well, again, let's look at this sort of impact that we're having here. I mean, I've given you a couple of UK stats, 2 trillion in terms of buying and selling. I mean, that's a minimum figure as it goes. Over 750,000 people employed in the UK directly in sales. Let's transfer that into Eastern Europe. Let's transfer that into Europe and even the globe. It would easily be conceivable, wouldn't it, that 60 million people around Europe probably do a sales role. So we're talking about a massive community here. and one that's been relatively untouched. The ISMM have made massive steps forward over the last 5 years, going into the Middle East, going into Asia, doing so much work with so many different communities and different cultures. So we are getting there now, and it's fantastic that Romania as well are leading the way in terms of European countries that are endorsing this kind of activity. So what's happened is the birth of what I have named a sales academy. And this is a sales academic approach to learning. I'm going to use the word fortunate, I use it tongue-in-cheek, that I get to see a lot of sales training material. And I can assure you, a lot of it is pretty awful. So every day we see this training material that people say, hang on a minute, I've got an idea. 6 steps to negotiation success. And they think it's new. And they think it's wonderful and they can't wait to tell the world. And as soon as we see it, we have to shoot it down because it really is nothing new and nothing clever and usually pretty poor as well. So what we had to do is we set up standards. We set up a best practice standard, and therefore we were able to build a qualification on the back of it. And what that means is that we now have an academic basis to sales training, an academic basis to sales career development. And this is what we've been working really hard with Madalena to transfer, to work with, to make sure that this process is going to work effectively within Romania. Here's some benefits, I think. Certainly not features. But I think the most important one is increasing sales performance. Because whatever we say about academia and the difference in the joining of academia with commercials, it has to have this end goal. Because if we all get qualified and nothing really changes, then what exactly have we done it for? So therefore, increased sales performance has to be the end goal. But what we think is that we have here is a robust way of making sure that happens. So I wanted to look about the other approaches that we're working with Sales Trust in terms of how we can actually communicate this message, how we can transfer knowledge in this way. And there's 2 approaches, or many approaches like many things, but 2 approaches here. One is this Sales Academy approach that we can work bespoke with different organisations, so it can be tailored, it can work with your organisation, it can be very much to do with what your organisational skill base looks like. And it's a fantastic way of learning. Well, of course, the other way of learning is just as good. And the open programs that Sales Trust will be working on will allow different verticals to actually learn together. The whole premise of what the ISMM are looking to do is to be in a situation where we look in a room like this of people who work in different verticals and actually have the same problems. It doesn't matter whether you work in FMCGs, financial services, or whatever it is that you're selling. You will be encountering the same sort of problems, and you will need the similar type of learning to overcome those problems. Therefore, the open course is a fantastic way of sharing best practice against different verticals or different companies. So with world-class standards come world-class credibility. And clearly as a UK business, we are regulated by the UK different organisations, and many organisations that the UK likes to have us recognised by. It is something about the British institutional structure that we like 3-letter acronyms, and we like a difficult process of trying to get anywhere. But once we got through that process, it means that we are robust. And Madalena alluded to it, but we actually had some fantastic news only 2 days ago. The system that we work on, whereby our academic qualifications are accredited, is something called the QCF. It's a qualification credit framework. And the European Union has been looking at the ISMM's qualification credit framework as the basis for what national standards will look like across Europe. We're really pleased that they've now adopted them and we now fall under the European qualifications framework. And it just shows the credibility in terms of what our standards look like. All this work that we've been doing, all the work that we're doing with Madalena, just shows that this work means something. And also that it's transferable. We've talked a lot about the UK and we've talked a lot about Romania. And what we're embarking on here is actually an international process, international benchmarking, as I'll come to as well, but a process whereby what good looks like today in Romania is the same as what good looks like in the UK, what good looks like in Saudi Arabia, what good looks like all over the world. And there's my map to prove it. So we work with some of the biggest companies on the planet as well. We work with some organisations that are just in the UK, some that are all over the world, some that have quite rightly, as I went from the airport into the city centre, I saw many of them. People like KPMG, people like RBS, people like Vodafone. All these people are engaging with the ISMM, and not just in a UK platform and international platforms, because we've just found that as soon as it works in one country, it will damn well work in another as well. And again, proving that these standards are robust no matter where we are. So here's a model of what academies look like. I won't go through the whole process with you, because I'm sure some of you would like a glass of wine or something like that this evening, and sitting here listening to the ISMM all night is not the best thing. So here's the process. We'll give you a copy of these slides so you can have a look at it, but the idea being is that we can work with your organisation to ensure that the end goal looks the same. We can work with Sales Trust to make sure that at the end of this process, your staff will be upskilled, will be better salespeople and be qualified salespeople as well. This is the process that we've set in place. This is why we're so pleased to be working with Sales Trust on it, because they get the way we work and they get in terms of what we can do and deliver increased sales performance in the country. So we talked a little bit about when Madalena went through the different structures and different levels. It was a good way of understanding actually what the levels equate to in terms of a real life sales organisation. And here's a bit of a career journey model that we use quite a lot in our business. And I've given you some sort of generic sales titles. You know, as I joked a bit earlier, you know, a business development manager to one person is a key account manager to another one, is an account manager to someone else. So here's just an example of what that can look like within your organisation, where everyone going into the organisation can understand where they need to get to achieve different goals within their career. That if they do want to be a sales director, then they do need to get a certain level of qualification. And that, of course, is mapped with your own processes, that is mapped into financial performance, it's mapped into all the things that you need to see. But again, anecdotally, there's some work that we've done with companies like EDF and Vodafone and BT, which is around when an individual joins that business, they know that if they want to become a sales manager or director, they will have to achieve that qualification. And that's not just in the UK, that's across their platforms across Europe and into Asia, etc. So again, world-class organisation, we need world-class partners. And I don't know how many of these you'll recognise. I think the one at the top, you might have an inkling of who they are. But it's all about working with the great partners. And that is why we're so excited about working with Sales Trust. That's why I'm so encouraged by so many people here today, because Sales Trust have actually got everyone excited about this idea. So it's fantastic to be working with them, but we work with some of the biggest players in the world in terms of sales training. And this process, again, is getting very, very big. It's roller coasting, snowballing, whatever the word you want to use. It's become very exciting for us in our business. So here's a few case studies of what we've been doing internationally. And SABIC are a petrochemical company based in Saudi Arabia. They got very excited very quickly, and within probably about 6 weeks of starting the process of getting their regional guys in Saudi Arabia through a qualification, it's already gone worldwide. They said the first stage was going to be a pilot, but we haven't finished the pilot, but we're already worldwide. So something went well. But the key thing behind it was against the same mapping, the same standards, the same things that we're talking about. What SABIC want to know is that when they pick their sales professional up and put him in another part of the business, he can still sell. And that's a massively important part. They also recognise that they're not competing just with other petrochemical companies in Saudi Arabia. They're a worldwide business that has worldwide competitors for staff. So therefore they need to know that their people are better than other people's. And what other way can you do it without putting a benchmark on it? Vodafone, again, we've been working with Vodafone a long time. Is anyone from Vodafone here, please? Vodafone guys, fantastic organisation to work with. No diluted structures that you have to jump through hoops to get to as well. It's wonderful working with your procurement department. So Vodafone has been a fantastic case study for what the ISMM do as well. We've worked with so many different parts of the business. What was happening, the L&D director in the head office in Newbury looked around and said, what is this ISMM? It's appearing everywhere. What is it? Because so many different areas of the business were looking at this ISMM qualification and getting it in there. They were almost using it as benchmarking their own abilities within their own organisation. How good are your sales guys? Well, ours are level 3. Well, ours are level 4. Therefore, our guys are better than your guys. So this organisation said, well, we better get our guys up to level 4, at which point the other one went up to level 5. It's been fantastic for us, but it just shows that sort of benchmarking idea where people wanted to be the best within that organisation. Again, E.ON have gone through the same process, and it was one of the processes that we mentioned before. Everyone that goes into E.ON will, before they go to a face-to-face contact meeting, they need to get a level 3 qualification. everyone who wants to become a sales manager within E.ON will need to go through a level 5 qualification. So again, we can really map career journeys. And with the support with businesses such as Salestrust within Romania, we can go and work with you on this process. We can actually work with you to get the best out of that team, to understand where your guys sit, so everyone can actually win out of it. And I actually have many, many more case studies that I would love to share with you at some point. I think to round off, what I wanted to do today, and hopefully I've managed to do, was first of all just to give you a bit of an idea of what the ISMM and where we come from. Secondly, to sort of recognise that the problems and the issues that we talk about in terms of what the perception of sales looks like in Romania is the same as whatever every country looks like. There's not a country where I've sat down and they've said, no, actually our salespeople are highly rated. Everyone in the world thinks our salespeople are brilliant. Our estate agents are fantastic. So the same problems that exist within Romania exist in Riyadh, exist in Royston in England. So we're not alone, but the solution is there. And I think that's the important thing. So working with organisations like Salestrust, with the backing of people like Stefan and his business, and with your support here today, we can really make a difference to sales here. Madalina talks about Romania PLC, and it's our responsibility, as I see it, the people in this room, is to actually grow this business, grow Romania PLC. How on earth are we going to compete internationally? How are we going to export? How are we going to grow this Romania PLC without real sales talent? So hopefully, I'd like to thank you for coming here. I think it's, as everyone has recognised, it's the start of the process, but it's an exciting one. It's the chance to be the first, the chance to be new, it's the chance to be thought leaders on this. So the sooner you place your orders with Salestrust, the sooner you can get that going. Thank you very much for your time.